my little rays of sunshine. How are you all doing out there today? I'm Michelle the Introvert, and today I have a very, very busy project, a big project ahead of me, and I have to start it off with my coffee because this project is going to take me quite a while to do. But being the end of August, the very end of August 2025, there are some things that are growing in the garden and on the crabapple trees. There's a hint for you, there's a clue for you. Crabapple trees that have to be done. I went picking for crab apples a couple days ago, so I was able to get a lot of really nice crab apples, and today is the day I have to take care of all of them. And I have some little helpers to help me make my job easier and quicker. And this is the first time I've ever had a metal apple peeler. This is a really nice one. Today I'll be using this for the first time. So this is exciting. We bought this from Amazon. And I also have this here for coring the apples. And this will also help make my job quicker and easier and lighter. So this will come in handy today as well, along with bowls of cold water and lemon juice to put the apples in while I do apple prep work. And I'm inviting you all to join me today. If you want to keep me company, that would be great. I would love to have your company, and it would be great to have someone to talk to. So come along, my friends. It's going to be a busy day. It's going to be a fairly long day, but I would love to have you all with me today. And here they are, my little beauties. I have some in this bag and I have some in that bag. And as you can see, I've got my work cut out for me today. So I just have to take the stems off, get them all washed up, and take them over to the countertop to where my apple peeler is. I'm making very, very good progress. As you can see, I have the green bag of apples on the countertop. I think I'll wait just a little while before I do the apples that are in the red bag, but right now I'm tackling all of the apples that are in that green bag right there. And I have my Tupperware bowl here that has the stems and the leaves from the apples, so that's what I'm putting them in. And I have quite a few strainers on the countertop here. I was going to say table, but on the countertop. So these are the ones I'm going to tackle first with my apple peeler and my apple core. I'm very happy with my progress, and things are moving right along. And that coffee right there is a very big help. And this is what I've got left in the bag. Just a few more apples. Not too bad. Just a few more. I wanted to give you a small update on how I'm progressing. Oh my. I've never used one of these here before. I actually had a plastic one made by a different company and it didn't work very well, so that's why we bought this metal one. But this is apple number 1. Is it supposed to look like that? This is definitely a learning time for me, but I'm having fun. And while I'm learning, I'm practicing. So I'm just going to continue on with these apples. Oh my, I'm sure I'll get it. I'm sure I'll get the hang of it. Time is going by and I'm getting things done. And I think I forgot to mention that I washed all of these apples already. Just in case some of you were wondering. I think I forgot to mention it, that I washed all of these. I took the stems off, took the leaves off, and then I washed them all very, very thoroughly. And of course my hands are always clean. Here are the apple peelings of what I've done so far. And I'm going to make some apple jelly with all of these cores and peelings. But that project is not for today. No, that'll probably be a project for tomorrow. And these are the apples I've done so far. And it doesn't look like it, but I do have water and I do have lemon juice. quite a bit of lemon juice in there. And these are what I'm going to use for my project. Project number one. Project number one, once I get all of this white bowl here, once I get all of these peeled and cut up the way I want, those apples will be going in this orange bowl and another bowl if I need it. But project number one is to make apple butter in my slow cooker. So I'm gonna keep trudging along, my friends. Busy, busy, busy. And as you can see, this bowl is almost empty. But one thing I've learned a lot about today and about using the apple core. This works really well. But this item here works extremely well, but is also extremely sharp. So I've got everything here all cleaned up again. It cut my finger. This part here is quite sharp. And this part here is quite sharp. This part here is quite sharp. And I've been very careful, but I still managed to cut myself. But it's not too bad. Doesn't need stitches or anything. There's my Band-Aid. The apples that were in the big white bowl are now in the slow cooker, and I'm about to get the rest of the ingredients so that way I can make a slow cooker apple butter. Happen to be up this early in the morning, you can join me for a coffee. I'm up very early because I had trouble sleeping. I was thinking a lot about my apple projects here today, and I really want to get them done. Hopefully I'll be able to get them done by lunchtime today. So I'm up very early, even before the birds. Yes, I'm up early. But I'm happy to say that my apple butter is done. Now I still have it in the slow cooker. I let it cool down overnight. So now all I have to do, once everybody's up and awake and around, I've got to put the apple butter in the food processor and then put them in containers. They'll be able to safely go in containers now that it's all cooled down. So that was project number one, is the apple butter. And I want to work on project number two. Well, I actually got it started and it's in the back there on the stove. I have started my apple jelly. I've cooked down the apple peelings that I've done so far, and I'm letting it strain through the pot and the sieve. Both of the pots that I had the apple peelings cooking in, pot number one and pot number two, I've emptied into this here. Now this is actually a steamer, but I thought I'd use my imagination a little bit and use that to allow the water and the juice from the apple peelings to drip down into this pot below. And it's doing really well. It's a slow process, so I'm glad that I started this early this morning. So I'm just going to let this do its job and then continue on with project number 3. And this is going to be apple jelly, so this is project number 2. I've already started project number 3. I just have to finish peeling all of those green apples, or those crab apples. And I'll get them all in this lemon water. And project number 3 is going to be a nice size apple crisp. My husband Gerald loves apple crisp, so I'm making this for him. And Joshua and I will be able to enjoy it as well. So I'm going to continue on using my apple peeler and using my apple corer. And this is doing a good job. I do have to be careful with this as well, because on the bottom there it's very sharp. I have to be careful with this too. So I'm going to continue, my friends, getting the apple peelings done, getting the coring done, soaking them all in lemon water. And of course, this coffee is going to help me out a lot. The apple cores and the apple peelings that I cooked up and let the juice drop into that pot. Well, you can see there's quite a bit of juice there. So I'll be able to make a nice batch of apple jelly. And I have my water bath canner filled with water. And I have my medium-sized stock pot ready to go. I'll be using Cerdo to make my apple jelly. This is a really good product, and it's definitely my go-to when I want to make jams and jellies. Also, I have all of the lids and covers and everything I'm going to need for my canning. I have everything washed. And I'm going to get a pot of water and get those sterilized, so they'll be ready to go too. This is where my Tupperware really comes in handy, and this is definitely where my Tupperware shines. I have this big measuring cup here full of sugar at the right measurement for the jelly, and I have the prepared fruit juice right here. So this is great. I'm definitely one more step closer to the finish line. The jars are sterilizing in this big pot of water. And the rings and the covers are sterilizing in the back pot. And in the front pot here, I have lemon juice, I have the sugar, and I have the fruit juice from the apple cores and the apple peelings. So I got to get this heated up and then add the Cerdo. Just following the steps and directions on the Cerdo package. I also have vinegar all set up in that little vintage blue bowl, and those racks there, cooling racks, I'm going to be putting the jars on those once they're filled. I just put this spoon in here to sterilize because that'll be stirring all of those ingredients together. So I want to keep things sterile. Just keeping an eye on this pot here. Getting everything all mixed up. How are you all doing out there? Are you having your coffees by now? It's still very early in the morning. It is 7:20 in the morning. Yeah, I've been up a while. I've been up for a while. I'm getting a lot done though, I will say that. When this starts to boil, it has to boil for 1 minute, and then I can add this Cerdo liquid right here. The froth that you see on the top, I got out some of it, but there's still some left. It won't hurt the jam or the jelly at all. I have all of the apples peeled that were in the big green Tupperware bowl, and they're in this pan right now. So I think I'm going to make Gerald a really nice size apple crisp. And as far as the apples that were in the red bag, I don't think I'm going to tackle them today. I think 3 projects for today is plenty. So I'm going to get this apple crisp going, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Ta-da! The apple crisp is done. It is 10:30 in the morning, my friends, and I'm completely finished all of my projects for the apples. I was able to get all three done. I have to hold this one down because this one's covered in a big band-aid, this finger here. So I'm happy that I was able to get the slow cooker apple butter finished, and I was able to get the apple jelly finished, and I was able to get Gerald's apple crisp finished as well. So, whoo, busy days. Yesterday was busy and today has been busy, but now I can relax. I can relax. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I learned while I was on kitchen duty. And there are some positives that I learned, and there are some negatives that I learned. Okay, so we can start with the apple butter. I was able to successfully get 4 containers of apple butter, and it turned out really, really good, and I tasted it and it just tastes wonderful. So I've got 4 containers of apple butter that I can freeze. So that's a plus. That's definitely a plus. So the jelly is next, the apple jelly. Now I learned a few things from this. Number 1, I didn't put this one here because it's not full. I didn't put this back into the water bath canner after it was all poured in the jars, but this one I did. And one thing that I've learned, and that is maybe I shouldn't have put these full jars in the water bath canner after I filled them up, because even though it's cooler, it's just not quite as gelled as I would want for apple jelly. It's still kind of liquidy. But this one here, this one turned out great. So now I know when I'm making apple jelly again, not to put the jars back into the water bath canner, just to leave them out on the counter, like on a towel or something, for them to cool off there, but they don't need to go into the water bath canner for 15 minutes to process. No. So that's a positive and a negative. The negative is that this didn't turn out quite as good as I was wanting, but the positive is that this one did. So that's another thing that I learned. Now we can talk about the apple crisp. Let's see if I can think of some negatives about this. Well, the apples were fine. I think the recipe should have had more liquid in it, because I had to add a little bit of water because it just wasn't cooking through the right way. So that was more of a recipe issue rather than an apple issue. But all in all, this looks terrific, and I'm very tempted to have some of this here shortly. And I'm sure Gerald is too, and Josh. So a lot of positives about the apple crisp. Now I'd like to talk to you about some positives and negatives for this apple peeler. Now, I'm really happy that I have this. There's a lot of positives about this apple peeler. I love having an apple peeler. It makes my job so much easier and so much quicker. It has a wonderful suction here on the bottom, so it makes it very stable on the countertop, and this here goes down so it stays firm and stable. Yeah, so that's a positive. And like I mentioned, it makes my job with apples way quicker and way faster and way easier than if I was peeling everything by hand with a paring knife like I used to. Yes, so this is definitely I'm glad that I bought this. This is wonderful. Now, as far as the sharpness goes, I'll review that as well. I'm just going to move this down a bit. Okay, these prongs here that the apple goes on, these are really sharp. One could really hurt themselves on that. So if you're thinking about buying this apple peeler, just be very, very careful, because this is like really super sharp. And then this part here is sharp as well. This here. And also this part here. This is what I cut my finger on, and my finger does not look like, it doesn't need stitches, but it looks pretty bad. I'm glad Gerald bought these super-sized band-aids, because I pretty much need to have a super-sized bandage for that. But this is the part here where I got hurt on, this here. And I'll tell you what happened, is I had the apple on this prong here, and the apple was peeled, and I was trying to remove the apple from the prong. And sometimes you have to really give it a pull for it to even budge. So I had pulled and I tugged and I pulled and I tugged, and then all of a sudden it came off really quick. And in doing so, my finger went from this section here and it slipped over onto that there, and that's what really did a number on my finger. So if you're thinking about buying this, just be very careful. I just wanted to give you the heads up. So that's why I'm sharing this with you. Now, one thing I learned after having that little accident there, and that is if I'm taking the apple off the prong, I'll cover this sharp part here because both of those items, they're both really sharp. If the apple is here and I'm trying to take it off, I'll cover this part here with a tea towel to protect my hand, because when my hand slips, it won't cut anymore if I have it covered and protected with a tea towel. Now sometimes the apple will get stuck in there. See that round circle there? There, can you see that round? After the apple's peeled, sometimes it'll be stuck in there. So you have to pull it out of that section. So you have to pull and pull this way, and you don't want to get hurt on those prongs there if you're pulling and tugging this way. So if the apple is here, I covered the prongs over with a tea towel. So I thought I'd give you some safety tips. Yes, I just don't want you to end up like me with a really bad cut on your hand. So this is a little bit of a review, but it's a negative and positive review because I just don't want anybody getting hurt. Because I'm still very careful when I use this, but I'm still really happy that I have it. It makes my job a lot easier, and it makes things go quicker for sure. And the last thing that I learned from my kitchen day with all my responsibilities in the kitchen, the last thing that I learned, and that is, I think that my days of going and picking little tiny apples from crabapple trees, I think those days are done. Yes, it's a lot of work peeling all those little tiny apples, even though the apple peeler is definitely a blessing. I just found it a lot. I found it a lot this time. I'm not as young as I used to be, so I'll let the youngins go out and get those crab apples. I think I'm just going to settle for the apples that are like bigger, a lot bigger, because I'll be able to do the work with the apple peeler so much quicker and easier. Those little crab apples are quite tedious, and I think I'm at the age now where I've graduated. I'm done. I'm done. I'm just gonna have to go the easier route from now on when it comes to apples. Well, my friends, I want to thank you for joining me. It's been wonderful having your company. It's been busy the past couple of days, but I got a lot done, and I'm glad that I did it. And I'm glad that the cleaning is done. I'm glad that the projects are done. So now I can just relax for the rest of the day. And the sun is shining. So I think I'm going to go outside for a while. Thank you again for your friendships, my friends. And thank you for your support and all your wonderful comments. And if you like this vlog, even though it's like a crazy vlog, a crazy apple vlog, if you like this vlog, please give me the YouTube thumbs up or press that subscribe button. That would be great. And I have more vlogs coming up, so stay tuned. And I'll talk to you all soon. Talk to you soon, my friends. Bye. Bye.